minutes.
It's okay. Everybody is already here.
Okay.
じゃあ今から始めさせていただきます。でもともと彼も喋り出したら止まらないんで、横から余分なこと言うなって言われてますので、必要なところだけちょっとカバーしますし、皆さんの中にもサポートいただける方いるので、フランクさんも含めてよろしくお願いします。Okay, please.
Okay. So my technique, if those of you who have followed my DVD, so my technique has changed.
古い DVD で皆さん見ていただいていると思うんですけども、今回ご紹介するのは全くそれらと違う方法です。で、さっきからやってるようなウルトラマットバーニッシュととにかくシンナーをいかに使って短時間で仕上げられるかという、初心者にはものすごくやりやすいやり方を今回ご紹介しようと思って日本に来てます。
改善。
いや、改善です。
改善。So what we want to do today, we will paint very fast with maybe about 2 hours. So we're going to do this, paint this figure from Alpine. Okay, so now the problem is the surface is very smooth, so we need to prepare the figure. So to prepare, most of the time we use surfacer or primer. I don't use that. I use the matte varnish. So
もともとのこのキットの表面がツルツルなんで、それを食いつきよくするためにいろんなプライマーとかやる人もいますけど、私はこのこういうものを使って艶消しのスプレーですね。白い原石の場合は艶消しのスプレーを透明のスプレーを吹いて表面を食いつきよくしてる。
So there are 2 ways. You can spray or you can use the flat clear. Yeah. Yeah. So I will use thinner.
だから最初だけこのシンナーをラッカー系を使って使う。
It actually doesn't matter. Most important is that the paint, that this is a matte, and the paint can stick onto the figure.
それを食いつきよくするためのプライマーの代わりに使ってます。Why don't you use acrylic clear?
Okay, acrylic clear doesn't stick so well. So lacquer is stronger. Lacquer is stronger.
ラッカーの食いつきがいいからってことですね。
So we don't need a lot, we just need a bit, because we are going to do the head. So we're going to paint 2 heads at once. So we just cover.
レジンキットですよね。
Alpine, yes.
アルパインのレジンキットなんで、プライマーの代わりにこのラッカーを使う。普通のタミヤのフィギュアとかも同じです。彼が一緒にやってるの。
So you can see it's very fast. Main thing is that it dries matte, so that the surface is porous. So it's almost like water. And also I use the matte varnish because it's also thinner. It doesn't have a layer of paint.
マットバーニッシュもシンナーと同じような使い方をすると。普通マットバーニッシュって艶をコントロールしようとかいう使い方しか私も知らなかったんですけども、今回本当にシンナーの代わりにさっきちょっとやられたように使ってます。でそれは今回の AK のマットバーニッシュが中身が今のものと全然違ってマットバーニッシュとウルトラマットバーニッシュは全然違うもんだそうです。
どうしてそれを思いついたのか聞いてもらってもいいですか？
それはもう彼が試行錯誤してとにかく一人でも多くの人に広めたいというのがあって一時期はタミヤの掃除用のエアブラシのクリーナーとかを使っていろんな試行錯誤を一時期フェイスブックで投稿してましたけれども、その
延長線上に
その延長線上でたまたま AK のフェルディナンドという社長と懇意でこういう提案をしたら実現したのがそのウルトラマットバニッシュだったと。でウルトラマットバニッシュは水性で匂いもないので子どもたちにとにかくそれを使ってもらえるようなことも考えてやってますということです。
ヘアドライヤー？
ヘアドライヤーってありますね。
あります。
ちょっと湿気が多いから。
Yes.
Okay.
I think this is enough. So I will repeat the demonstration again, just in case people have not listened. So we talk about the water. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to make the gradation. So we understand we don't use water. So
さっきちょっと説明しましたけど、水との違いを紹介しましたけど、でどうやってグラデーションを引けるかという。
So with water, as I said, if you can see, it's actually you can see it beads. And if you use what we're going to do to thin the paint sometimes is to use the thinner. So thinner, you can see, is actually it's flatter because it's alcohol and it can scatter the paint. The main thing is to scatter the paint. Now, water is a bit hard to control and it leaves watermarks because of the surface tension. So you can see the difference between how this scatters and how this scatters. Alright? And also it creates watermarks. This creates a bit of marks but not as bad as water itself. Okay. So, to repeat this again, I use a bit of ivory. Right? So, whole entire principle is basically layering transparent layers of color. So generally, in terms of how much ultra matte to use, it depends on how much water you always use to thin your paint. If you want something very thin, then you add more water. But if you want something a bit thicker, then you add less of the water. So instead of using water, now I'm using the ultra matte.
普通は水で薄めるんだけど、その代わりにウルトラマットバーニッシュで薄めます。で、どういうふうに広がるかをさっきの水とシンナーと比較してくださって。
So normally we take, unload, and then I'm going to show you. We do the spread. You can see it right now. The application is very important because we have to wait for the first layer to dry before we put the second. This is something you have to remember, so you have to be patient. So you can see once it dry to the touch. Okay, and then next is to get a shorter stroke. So this is the long stroke, shorter. Right? You can see this is where it tails off. Yeah. So you get shorter. See? So this is the fourth stroke, third stroke. So you can see we are stacking the layers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 until we get to the end. So as we stack over and over, you realize that the color gets darker and darker. So this is the basic idea, yes. Yes. So you see shorter and shorter and shorter. So you can see from here, it's very translucent, it moves from here. So this is how we get the transition of colors. We are building up shorter strokes until you reach to the highlight, whereby the highlight is actually very heavy. You can see, this is how we get the transition. So this is the basic idea. Okay, so once you understand how this works, how we stack the colors, then we can start to paint the heads. Okay.
今のが基本的なこの塗料の使い方で、この原理を用いてとにかく薄く一層で塗って乾かしてまた重ねていくと。このウルトラマットバーニッシュを下地が侵されずに きれいに上に重ねることができるというのが非常にこの、ウルトラマットバーニッシュの特徴です。
Okay, so I'm going to do the demonstration using the skin tone sets from here. So you can also watch the video, but I will do it live for you all to see. So we're going to start first with crimson red. This is the quick gen crimson red. Now a lot of people are asking, what is the difference between the quick gen and the Gen 3? Well, the difference is this is more like poster paint, right? Gen 3 is like poster paint. It's very heavy, very opaque. This quick gen is like ink. It's very rich, very deep. So it will give you a much deeper shadow. So generally for shadows we use this. For highlights and base colors we use the 3 gen. Now the 3 gen has a problem. And the problem is that it does its job too well. It covers too much. Right? The coverage is very, very strong. Too strong for getting gradients. And that's why we have to pair it up together with this. So imagine this is your father, very bad temper, but your mother is very soft. Alright? So it will balance out the balance out together. Yeah, you will cut. Yeah, so your father will not be so angry if you come back home with your mother's around. Okay? So something like that.
中身が濃くて被膜隠蔽力が強いのでそういう意味でウルトラマットバーニッシュな芯が必要で、インクの方は濃い色で影をつけるのにものすごく使いやすい。
Yes, yep. So you can see there's a gap in between. Well, the reason is because we can use this to cut a middle color. So for example, in between this and this, I can use the crimson and this to get a middle color. So here I'm going to get a middle color from here, which is the human flesh and crimson. So if I take one drop of crimson, okay, and this is human flesh, add a bit more, maybe it's about 1 to 3, or it depends. Okay, I'm going to use a round brush. Okay, wet it, and then I'm going to stir it. Now, as I said, when I add the thinner, it flows better. Right, you can see. So,
ベースの時は流れ良くしたいためにAK のシンナーで薄めます。
Yep. Oops. Yep. So you can see it. You can see it's very translucent. Okay. So I'm going to use. It's very thick as well. You can see the color is very rich. So this is like a reddish brown that we've created. So we're going to thin it. Yeah. Okay, let me know. And we're going to wash. We are going to move the paint very slowly. Now, because we are not working with the primer, we are only using the matte varnish. We are actually, what we are doing is we are actually staining the matte varnish. And you can see, because there is no paint, there is no, the details are not affected. And yet the paint, right, can stick onto the surface. Right? So you can see now, it's almost like a flash tone coming out. One move. Alright? So, okay, you guys can have a look. You can pass it around. I got 2 heads here. Right. You can see your own eyes. One wash, okay? So, yeah. So almost you can see acrylics look very strange now because it looks like it's enamel. So we have actually transformed and turned acrylics into enamel using the thinner.
シンナーを使うことで非常に粒子細かくなるのでエナメルを塗ってるような使ってるような仕上がりになってでちょうどサンプルが2つあるんで1つ回していただいている間にもう1つを作業するような感じで進めていきます。
Now you can also see that the paint, right, diffuses itself. So we don't have to do anything much. We just make sure that the paint goes onto the surface and leave it alone. You notice that the paint will flow by itself. So we let the thinner do the work. The thinner will help to carry the paint. So this is the
シンナーで薄めてるんで、勝手に溝の深いところに塗料が入り込んでいってくれる。
so you get this second head. You can bring. You can have a look.
してるみたいな感じで。
So let's just let it roll. So uniform, same. So you can, right now you can see it's only one wash. You can see a bit of a flesh tone coming out. So very easy for beginners. So the step presentation, I will show you the various steps you can level up from a beginner, for beginner, intermediate to advanced. So right now we are at a beginner level. Alright, we are at a beginner level. Okay, so you can see the paints here. I am going to thin it with the ultra matte varnish. Okay, alright. Now for the uniform, we can start well because we need time for the uniform to dry. So I am going to use field grey. Alright, very deep, very rich. So we have to be very careful when you use this. Alright, this is like teriyaki sauce. It's very strong. So we don't put too much. Okay, but we want it to flow. So we add thinner for it to flow. So this as well, we will add thinner and we want it to flow. So same thing. Thinner, we dilute it, and we can apply a wash. So this is like, you can see the thinner. When I add the thinner, it flows like enamel.
ものすごく薄めてエナメルのように塗っていく。
Now you realize my technique is very close to watercolor painting. This is watercolor. While using watercolor. Now previously, before in the DVD, there was more. It's much closer to oil painting. Now it has transformed and has moved more towards watercolor painting, which is actually more oriental or more Eastern style of painting. So I'm going to also do a few grey trousers as well.
ちょうど水彩画を描くような感じで描いていきます。
So also you can see that I am moving very slowly, not too quick. See, as it dries, you can see it's very even. And the reason why it's able to dry so evenly is because of the matte varnish.
下地にマットバニッシュ、you want to say with the matte varnish?
With the matte varnish. So we are applying the wash over the matte varnish.
マットバニッシュで溶いてるので、もうすぐ均一な、乾いたら均一な目になることは分かります。ちょっと乾いてから見ていただければ。
So you can see, right? You can move around and you can see. Yeah. Okay, now we have the heads. The heads have come back. One head, right? Okay. Okay, now okay. It's okay. The two heads, okay. Yeah. So you can see as it dries, it's very weak, but you can see a bit of flash tone coming out. So I always control my paint. I don't put it too thick. Very thin. If you cannot get it the first round, then apply a second round.
まだ肌色は全然肌色っぽくないんで、順番に今から色を入れて。
So second round, you can see. Right, it's pin wash. Okay, same color, same paint. Underneath the nose, eye socket, neck. Now this is exactly like watercolor. Okay. Now if you are happy with this, then you don't need to proceed anymore. Alright. If you're happy with this, it's a watercolor. You can see the flash tone there. Okay. Then we have one head here. Put Okay, you can see this. You can bring it around while it dries, so everybody can have a look while it dries. It's the same thing as well. All right. Second wash. This is only two steps of washes. So you can see it's actually very fast. The color diffuses itself because of the thinner.
とにかく薄めて勝手に色が広がるのを利用してやってます。
Yeah. So you can see that it scatters and flows very well. So if you are using water, this effect will never happen.
水を使ってたらこんなわけにはできない。Layer, hi. Very thin. So layer, like water. Yeah. So like water. Yeah. So if you use water, yeah, correct. You never like this. So Homa-san has experience painting with acrylic, so he knows. We'll wait for this to dry. Okay. Okay. And by the time the head comes back, we should be able to. It should have dried by then. Okay. So ultramat light flash. Okay. So we're going to have mix the first highlight color, or maybe base color. All right. This is the middle. We start off with the base color. All right. So I'm going to stand by another lot of ultramat. Now we always test. So in this case, how much ultramat to add? It depends because you have to see what result you're going to get on the surface like this. All right. So before anything else, you'll never see this type of strokes happening with water. All right. When you pull, you can see it's very even. All right. And that's what we want to. This is what we want to do. All right. Okay. We get the flow first. All right. Now, maybe I'll explain a bit in terms of how we apply the brush. The secret is basically, right, when you land the brush, right, it should come down at an angle. You push the paint, you hold, all right, and then you lift. All right. So you land, push, hold, lift. Now, why you want to hold is because you want the paint to deposit onto the surface. This is important for highlight. So highlight color will be here. You land, you push, you hold. Land, push, hold, lift. Where you see this round shape, that will be where your highlight is going to be. And if you mix it with the ultramat varnish, you realize there are no ring marks. There will be no ring marks. You can see. Now previously, if you try to do this with water, you will have ring marks. Okay? Alright. Alright, so now this has came back. It's very easy to see because you know where the deposits are. Then you know where the high points are. So now where we know the high points is easy, we can use this to paint our highlight, or rather the base color. So you can see I'm starting very, very light first. First color. First layer. Second layer.
So you can see the cheekbones coming out. Okay, so this is the base color. So you can see I can do two heads at once, no problem. Okay. Right, so you can see I'm pushing. This is the cheekbone, the chin. So you can see only this central, you can see this area, this zone here. You can watch on the video here, this is the zone here, that's where the highlights are. That's where you push. This is where the chin is. And this is where the cheekbones are. So notice what I'm doing, I'm trying to push the color to the highlight, the paint all the way to the highlight. Okay? Okay, this is when you can take one, okay. Right. Oh, this comes back. Okay, now. So I have to. So this is only one wash. If you want to go darker, you can still go darker. Alright? And you can see I'm going to do the same thing as what I did with the wash for the face, is to push it up. You can see it gets deeper. So it's very easy to spot where the highlights are, because once you place the shadows, the high points, right, show up easily. Okay, so here same thing as well. You know where, if you just sweep the color down, these are where the shadows are. Now, what you want to do in this case is to sweep the paint down and let it deposit at the shadows. Okay, so we're gonna let this dry for a while. Right, so we let the thinner do the work. So the good thing about these washers is that they dry matte, they dry flat. Right, so you can see as it dries, right, it's flat. So that's why I enjoy using I prefer the paints here, because they are very, very reliable and they always dry matte flat. Okay. So now from here you can read where the highlights are, and we can start to apply the base. You can try to apply the base color. So I'm going to use a few grey base. I'm going to mix it to the side here, and then of course I'm going to use ultra matte. Right. So we're going to test the opacity right here and the flow. And same thing, where the highlights are. Let's say the highlights here, we try to push the paint on the highlight. You can see that. Push. So you can see it all washes. Okay. So you can see this is the highlight here, or rather the base. So the colors, right, you can see on the uniform here is actually very, very thin. And just imagine you're just building up like watercolors. The layer, you can see the paint is actually very thin. You see on the black glove here, you see it's very thin. And that's what we are essentially doing. We are putting very thin layers of paint over the wash. Okay. Now you can see the colors are being built up. Now, notice that I don't go over the same spot twice. It's always once. Stop, then move on to the next point. I try not to go over the same spot twice, which means that I don't go 1, 2, 3. I don't do that. I make a sweep. See that? Hold the paint, let it move. Yukuri kaku. Alright? Slow.
同じとこを何回も絶対繰り返さないでゆっくり動かして上に引き上げる。
So, no wasted actions. Now, once we have this, you can see it starts to build up. Okay, it's easy now. We can use the highlight color. I'm going to prepare here. I'm going to show you how to do a tonal gradation here. Yes, the ultra matte varnish, yes. So, start with the base color. Now, what I have done before, I'm using the tip of the brush to paint. But actually, if you look at it, my brush is at an angle, 45-degree angle. I'm using the side to sweep. You see, I'm using the side to sweep. So imagine this is a sword. Instead of trying to poke, I'm using the side to sweep. Alright? So like katana, okay? You don't stab, you sweep. So in this case, it's the same thing as well, like katana. Go to the side, sweep. And you go slow, so you got more control. So this is the highlight, we push up to the top. And it's one sweep. Now the reason why if you get a lot of brush strokes is because the first layer is not completely dry. And if you apply, and when it's half dry and you apply the second layer, it strips away the first layer. And that's where you get brush strokes. So to avoid brush strokes, always limit your strokes, go over once, keep the paint as thin as possible. So whatever mistakes, let it be. Just move on. Okay, try to look for a new location and transfer the paint to the new location. So this area has not been fully covered. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to continue to build up the opacity. And the key thing is to go as slow and controlled as possible. We are not in a hurry to go anywhere. So keep it slow. Alright? The slower you go, the faster you move. Or rather, the slower you move, the faster you go, rather. Yep. You see that? So now you can see only two colors, quick gen and the base color. Right, which is the field gray. Now if you want to get highlights, we can use gray-green. That will be the highlight color. Right, I can thin it down until it's very thin, just like this. So, where's the highlight? The highlight is somewhere around about here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to push and sweep the paint from this side here. Push. Upwards. Let it hold.
ちょうどまだ下地が乾いてない時にハイライトを今のように筆の使い方で入れていってちょうどここからが自然のグラデーションができるというところですね。
Second layer. Alright, so I can touch. I don't have, you see, when you mix with we mix the paint, or rather you thin the paint with the ultra matte varnish, you don't have to worry about brush strokes anymore. Or not really brush strokes, but don't have to worry about watermarks. that is a big game changer. And that will allow you to move rather fast.
ウルトラマットバニッシュ使うと周辺のシミとかを気にしなくてどんどん筆を進めることができる。
Okay, so when you save time, you save money. So you can see right now I can shorten. So earlier on, right, I should have actually extended the line, but I didn't. So anyway, I'll just work from here. This is the second section. I'll move up again. Okay. I can go back to the base color again, and I can also move in the opposite direction to darken. So what I have is somewhere in the middle here. So this goes in the middle. This is the highlight here. So again, control, thin, push. So you can see the gradation happening. Okay, trousers here as well. Same thing. Push up to where the highlights are. Okay, this is not dried yet, so I'm not going to deal anything with that. Go to the front. Push. Push all the way up. Now, you look at this, right? It's almost like you can see I'm actually pushing the paint. Right? So where the highlights are here, this is where the highlights are, I'm pushing. So this is the long line. So I'm not going to pull everywhere. I'm going to go to the middle and I'm going to push here. You can see there's a color gradation. Here as well. This is a long line. I'm not going to pull the long line again. I'm going to shorten my line. So every time when you introduce a new highlight, make sure the line is shorter than the previous line. Okay, otherwise you end up having everything very flat, which you don't want. So you come to a point whereby it gets shorter and shorter until you just only a speck of color. That's it. So you can see this part here. You can see the highlight coming out for this pen seam. Okay, now I'm going to paint some of the creases on the sides here. Right here, I can paint it out. Again, just one stroke. And going slow. You can see this coming out. Here as well, same thing. So, in this case as well, if you see that this is the highlight coming out from here, not too wet. Okay, so you can see on my thumb here, I can control. Now, one more thing I want to mention is that notice I'm using a chopstick with a rubber hose and a toothpick to hold it. Reason why is because it gives me more control. And I can turn it upside down and I can control it this hand. You can see the whole entire picture here, my whole hand. Notice how I'm able to sweep the tone upwards. This gives me a lot of control. That's why I don't carry that heavy stick and hold like this, because there's no control. This gives me more control and flexibility. Alright, so this is important. Okay, in fact this hand is even more important than the hand holding the brush, because the brush only naturally flows in one direction. Okay, so if you want to optimize, alright, and this is fixed, you're going to have to move your arms around in a very uncomfortable position. It's going to affect the brush strokes. So always agree with the brush that's holding the hand. Right?
ちょっと安定して線を引くための今腕をどう固定するかと、あとフィギュアの固定の方法の説明をされてます。で今見ていただいているような持ち手を作ってコントロールするのが彼としては一番 安定して塗りやすいということです。
Don't look at the brush here. Look at how the hands are together. Here. This is the relationship. Okay. So you can see I'm actually pushing the lines, cleaning up the highlights as I go. You can see the highlights appearing. So always wait for the first layer to dry. So same thing here as well, sweeping upwards. Okay. You can see the smooth gradation happening. Okay, I'm getting in the mid-tones now. Yes.
Maybe about 5 minutes break.
Okay, so we can do a 5-minute break. Okay, those of you who want can come over and have a look and see the result so far. And while we wait for this to dry, we can look at the. We can move on to the head later. Okay, yeah. We will do a short recess.
前の方後ろに行って、場所入れ替わってください。
Oh, okay. No, never mind. We can move this. We can bring this around, and you can we can take a we can change.
あ、こちらです。手洗いこちらになります。飲み物。はい、お茶がいい。お茶、はい、お茶おかわりです。
お願いします。Ready? 行きましょう。So now we are going to move on to the head. We wait for the uniform to get ready. So now we can paint the head. So now we are still at this level here, but you can see the flesh tones are beginning to appear. Right? So notice the paint. You can see it's very thin. It's very thin. See? You can see the layering. So now you can see while I am holding like this, you can see you get more stability. Dot. Dot. Okay. Oh, okay. Over there. Okay, so I can see this is the second layer. You can see, right. So you can move around. You can see the details starting to appear. Right, you got the nose, a bit of the eye bag. So it's just a touch, it's just a light touch. Okay, the cheekbone, nostrils, side of the mouth here. as long as you keep the paint in, okay, so you can see I'm actually touching up a bit on the face, just focusing only on the highlights, this zone here, right, this part here. I'm sweeping the paint all the way here. Okay, so this is still light flash. Okay, now I can start to move on. If I want to get a stronger highlight, I can take light flash and then mix it with highlight flash. So this is the highlight flash. So in between, that's why we have the gap in between there. Alright, this will be the first intermediate tone. Here, on the nose, chin, top of the mouth, right, and the cheekbone. A bit on the nostrils here as well. Okay, we can have a look now. Okay, so, alright, so we can see we already move on to the highlight. Pops up already. We have 3 tones. We have the shadow, or rather the first shadow, the base, the base color, and the highlight. So it starts to pop up. We have not introduced the darker shadow yet. Right, so the effect will get even much stronger. So this is what you call an intermediate level. Alright, where you are looking at the intermediate level just for the diorama, you can get that. Okay, so now the uniform, I won't worry too much about it. What we're gonna do, okay, there are a few ways to improvise around this. I'm going to start to paint the webbing. Alright, which is the webbing. I won't worry too much about the details. We got all the major details there. Okay, the extreme highlights, we're not going to worry too much about it. I'm going to focus on the belts now. Okay, so for the belt, in this case I will use rubber black. Okay, so don't worry about this term, the rubber black, and we are going to combine it together with the quick gen. So it's going to have a 2-part system. Okay, so I'm going to take a bit of the thinner, just a bit of thinner. Don't want too much, otherwise it's going to flow all over the place, which I don't want. And okay, so press the paint and then move as slowly as possible. Alright, move as slowly as possible. So for those of you who have a hard time trying to control the paint, just wash the paint into the figure. Okay, so this one is easier to, much brighter. So it's very fast. Once you place the webbing in, okay, it's a very fast game. Right? Main thing is to get all the things painted. You can see this, the gradation. Webbing. Alpine figures are very fun to paint because the details reward this technique. Because once you apply the wash, right, the details are very, very sharp. So the paint actually flows very easily. Okay. So that's why painting alpine figures is very fun. Okay, pay a bit more, but then you get double the fun. You don't have the frustration. Okay. So I'm going to, you can see here, once you wash it in, that's it. Okay. I'm going to use another color. I'm going to undercoat the buckle. I'm going to show you how to later. Maybe I've got time. I'm going to show you a bit of NMM. How we can do a bit of NMM for the buckle. So to undercoat the buckle itself is actually aluminum, so it's very bright. So we don't need the very dark base. So this is just nice. Okay. Let's see, medium green. Okay, I'm going to use a dark green here for the head of the grenade. Oh, I've got a bit of the field grey, medium grey. Okay, so a bit of field grey and a medium grey. Oh, sorry, the medium green. Sorry, medium green. Medium green, field grey. Just a wash here. That will be for the grenade. Alright. So once you apply the wash, you can see where the shadows are being deposited. Okay, this is the cap at the bottom for the fuse, or rather the igniter. Okay, and let's see how it. Oh, you've got this color wood. This is a quick gen color wood. I'm going to use it direct. Okay. So this one is a very thick color. It's a very thick paint. You can see it's actually very rich. And I can use this to paint the wood portion first. Okay, so we got this part done. Okay. Yep. Just put here. Yep. Okay. Okay. Right. The boots are going to be very fun, very fast. Rubber black, marker down. Marker, this one very fast. Don't need to worry. Now, okay, I'm going to show you a trick. If you find that the paint hard to flow, right? Take a brush, combine. You're going to do a combination. Okay, a bit of thinner, marker this. Then it will help to flow better. Thinner, marker. Marker, it will flow better into because the marker only cover the top, and it cannot flow the inside. So you take a bit of thinner, you wash, and you will carry the paint into the shadow or into the down parts. Yeah, you see. Okay. So because markers only can cover the top only, that's it. That's a problem with markers. But of course, with every problem, there's a solution. So just wet. Okay, like wash and then just very easy. 簡単. Kantan is also the same dialect same as my dialect. 簡単。中国語は簡単。中国語は同じです。Okay. Okay. Almost done. Okay. Yeah. Shadow. Right. And then break back. Also buff. Okay. I will show you how to change the color. You can modify the color later. Okay. So we have wood, brown, black. Okay. Okay. So for you can use to change the color. If you want to change the color, I'm going to use Splinter Monster. Okay. Light earth. And and maybe a bit of wood. So, and also a bit of ultramatte varnish. So mix. So this is one tone. So we mix a color. You can wash it. And you can change the color. Okay, now we can also do wet on wet because this is still wet. So I use light earth. We wait.
下地がまだ乾いてない時に、明るい色を上から今からのせていく工程ですね。ここら辺がもう
So push.
一回だけ置いて、で溜めて上げるというか。
はい。So wait, gradation. But wet on wet because we're gonna let it carry the color, right? And then now
下
move.
地が濡れてるんで自然に塗料がにじんでくれる。
So push one time. Don't. After that, move on this side. Slow. Ipai. Once. Dry. One then repeat. So everything is all first. One time. So same thing here also. If you want to lighten, we can go over base color with highlight color, mid-tone. If this is too dark, we can lighten. So we can do color correction, tonal correction. So you can see it's very fast. See, good control, hand together, not like this. When you do this, that's problem. Combine together, everything is locked, stable. This is marriage. Single, different. Okay? So must family stable, must have good marriage. Two hands come together. And 子供 papa mama 子供 So very loose. This is a management. This is management. So highlight, strong highlight. Can go back to this. Check the tone. Very, very thin. Push. Push. Here. Pinpoint highlight. Here. Here, now, here, highlight. Now we only dot. 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 No more pulling lines, just dot. Push. Here.
ハイライトをまた塗りしていって、それもグラデーションがかかっているようにピンピンピンピンピンピンと塗っていってるよね。解説ありがとうございます。 そうないかな。
いや、まあ、今言われてます
合ってますか。すごいじゃん。さすがです。
重ねていけば、重ねたところはどんどん白い色使えば明るくなって。同じ色でやるどんどん変化がつけられるので、でもうそこ早くできる。筆はゆっくり使う。
Okay, and shadow. Now we can move to a darker shadow. You can use field gray. Okay. Now I want to control different. Now I don't want the field gray to go everywhere, so I want more control. With thinner, the field gray will move all over. So I want more control. I add ultramatte with the field gray. This will give me greater control on the field gray. So where am I going to apply the field gray? Shadow here.
今度はウルトラマットバーニッシュで薄めたフィールドグレーで今シャドウを入れて、シンナーでやるとわっと広がってしまうので、コントロールしたいときはウルトラマットバーニッシュを使う。かなり範囲が限定できるという。
Now you can see, now I can paint in and whoosh up. Shadow. Highlights. You all can see now. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So for the head, you can see it's very bright. Now you can go for stronger highlight. Second round of the highlight of the head. So this is skin. Now you can see very bright. You can see right now where you are, the light, just only one touch of the highlight, one touch. Very, very, yeah. Okay. Oh, the other arm. Okay, now. Same thing. Very fast.
じ筆なんだ、すごい。
And
早い。
now, see, and you can use wood, crimson, wood. Okay. Okay, we do the wood grain. Okay, first layer, then we use another layer, lighter color. Okay, human flesh. Okay. This time very thick. See if I have dark flesh. Okay, so over, and the effect is very soft. No thinner, just direct from the bottle. Okay, you can see. So 2 steps, wood grain, and then for dry, then after that we cover with the quick gen. So the quick gen is translucent, so it resembles like the lacquer that goes over the wood. So it helps to do that, have to recreate the same effect. So the timing, 1 hour, almost there.
Only use just one brush?
One brush, yeah, sometimes 2. We haven't done the detail for the face, so we'll switch. So I will, maybe at the time, I will talk about the brush. The 2 types of brush. This is Tamiya Pro 2 and this is Nevskaya Palitra. Now in where I am, in Singapore, this is cheaper. These 2 brushes are cheaper because this is closer to the Winsor & Newton Series 7. But the Winsor & Newton Series 7 is very expensive. So this is a very good substitute. Right? Pro 2 small, this is a very good substitute. I use a small because it holds a lot more paint and the tip is very fine. Okay, so if you look at the 2 brushes, there's a difference. This is longer. So this is good for sweeping. Alright, good for sweeping. Alright, and it's good for painting lines. Line work. Line is very good. Very long. Now,
強くしていいですか？
okay. So
ライン引くの
line,
に
yeah, so because line is long,
長い分やりやすい。
so you can like if you can also use it like katana sweep, okay, and you can use the top, the tip, and then you pull the
細い
lines.
線引いたり
Yes.
スワイプする。
Yes, so you sweep. So you use the sweeping action to get your gradient. This
筆の使い方で、長いものと短い筆の用途で全然違ってくるということに。
So this one is shorter, all right, it's shorter, but it is also, if it's a fatter, it's good for dotting. Chipping is using this brush because it has a fatter base, so it's good for stabbing. So this is like a dagger, it's good for punching, stabbing.
腰が強いんで、ドット打つのには。
Yeah. So stippling, you use this. Chipping, you use this.
できない。
This has a long body. It's not good for dotting because it will bend. So when you paint eyes with this, your eyes will go flat. If you use this, because it's shorter, you will still get the line, the dot. So that's the difference. So two have different purposes. Now
目
this
玉入れるときなんかは短い方がいい。ドットを入れるとき。
filbert is used for flat area. Filbert is good for flat area. So drum can.
広い平らな面積のときはフィルバートが使いやすい。
So drawing drum can, filbert is good. This is not effective for painting the drum can. This is for irregular surface. So flat surface, filbert is the best. Dry brushing, filbert also the best. Dry brushing. So Belinden uses filbert, not flat brush. No, it's filbert. That's why Belinden dry brushing is soft. Okay. When your dry brushing is hard because you're using wrong brush. And Belinden did not share that he used filbert brush. He says saber brush. Yeah, but you can see the design of the brush is it's filbert. The filbert represents the cut. It's curved.
先の丸ひな筆っていう。
Regular cut flat is chisel sharp. That is for pushing paint, like a broom.
それでやると穏やかなグラデーションができる。
So that is the difference. So now you can see highlight is there. We can start to move on. If we can start to do the eyes. So I'm going to put in the deeper shadows. I'm not going to use this because they will carry too much paint. So what I'm going to do. Okay, I will switch to this now. So I'm going to use dark flash. Okay. And a bit of the ultra matte varnish because I want to control. So ultra matte varnish is good because it's also a paint improver, flow improver. So you can actually get very fine lines using if you mix the paint with the ultra matte varnish. Thank you. All right. Yes.
Please take a break.
Oh, don't worry. I can paint. No problem. Audience need a break.
Audience need
Okay.
to see.
Okay. So maybe we'll take a 5-minute break.
5 minutes.
Yeah, 5-minute break.
じゃあ5分間の。
あと場所入れ替わってください。
Yep.
休憩所でちょっと場所入れ替わり。紙あるわけでしょ。紙あるのか。
M.Sさんのモアに入ります。
I ask you a question.
Yes.
Don't you use watercolor in AK acrylic pen?
Wet palette? No more.
No more.
No more. No more wet palette.
No necessary.
Not necessary. But for me, because it will flow over.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And wet palette. Wet palette has water.
Yes.
It will affect the paint. Overflow and water will go into the paint.
Not controllable.
Correct. You only what? Okay, so this is you can see after 1 hour it's still wet.
Yes.
And then you can always top up with a bit of thinner. So 1 hour is still wet. I don't have to put thinner. I don't have to put water.
それからこのパレットを普段使うようになったのはウォーターパレットの説明なんかされました。今は昔の DVD ではそればっかり使ってたけども、やっぱりシンガポールとか湿度の高いところだと長く放置してるとどうしてもカビが生えたりすると、それがパレットだけじゃなくて塗装したフィギュアにも生えてしまうことがあるということで、最近はもうそればっかり使ってる。
ファンガス。
あれことは結構違うもんなんですよね。やっぱり 3D アクリル AK のやつは。そのままちょっと置いとくと、カビ以前にその濃度が極端に変わってしまうので、オーバーフローって言ってたけど、その水っぽくなっちゃって、そんなもう使えない。でもう変質してしまうことが結構あって、1日2日で、まあ1週間なんか置いとけない。水の量もコントロールしづらいし、どうしたもんかなんだって、なんか10個ぐらい作ったんですけど、厚み変えたりとか、いまいちダメです。これだと楽だ。
しかも少量をコントロールできるので。
シンプルなのが一番いいですよ。ウォーターパレットはあっちの黒カビ入るんですよ。
毎回こんな感じで大丈夫だった。
レズを入れてない水めっちゃ臭いんですよ。消毒をして
これが規約に出そうと
Very fast.
Always your idea is very good.
Thank you. Yes. It's the same.
ああ、これなんかない。
About the same.
まあ、むっちゃわけですね。
Okay, so now I'm going to use, we're going to use, okay, thank you. Going to use a, dark flash. Yes, now we are talking about here. So dark flash with a bit of the ultra matte varnish mix here. So for eyes, I'm going to show you two examples for painting the eyes. The first example is intermediate, or maybe even beginner. You don't have to worry about the painting the eye. You can just apply shadow. So just dot. Okay, and give shadow. The main thing is if with the helmet, if you have the eye bag, you just need to make the eye bag, and that's good enough. Right? That is for if this is for diorama, it's actually good enough. Right? For diorama. So just give a bit of shadow. That will be good. For especially for 135 scale. Just shadow. If you want to get the beard, you can also use a bit of the light flash. Sweep one time to get the beard. 5 o'clock shadow. So you can see it's very dark. You just need to focus on the highlight. So now cheekbone. So sweep the paint outwards. Lips. Push to, you can see the brush pushing to the edge there. Just lightly touching the eye bag, and this is enough. Now, to paint the lips, I'm going to use the mixture Crimson Red and Dark Flash. Okay, and then we can just apply a wash. Just touch. Top, lower lip. Okay, and then again, if you want, you can make this a bit redder. A little bit of red. Same tone for the lips on the cheek. Final highlight, you can add a bit of ivory, but mix maybe about 80% ultra matte varnish and just touch. %of ultra matte varnish will make the ivory look very, very soft. So you can see just a touch. You can see the difference now. You can see. So what we put is a very dark shadow. Okay, so same thing here, just a dark shadow. A wash of dark shadow. This is the dark flash around the eyes. And a bit under the nose because that's where the shadow is. Okay, I'll wait for that to dry. I say it's a wash because this is very diluted with the ultra matte varnish. Right, so when you touch, it will flow. Okay. So I can use it to get the 5 o'clock shadow as well with dark flash. Okay. Add a bit of back to the mid-tone here. Again, check, make sure there's a lot of the teeth, chin, cheekbone, okay, so I only focus on the eye bags. I'm not painting the eyes. So only shading. So with shading, actually from a distance, actually you can get away with it. You can see now. Okay, so we make the paint accessories. Okay, very fast. We use a rubber black. Okay, areas that the rubber black cannot flow, I take a bit of the thinner. Then from here again, use the thinner to carry the paint into the hard to reach places. Okay, canteen cup. The canteen cup, I'm going to give it rubber black. Although it's, I think the issued color is actually black. Okay, I'm also going to paint the weapons here as well, the metal parts, black as well. Okay. And I can use the gunmetal, okay, to paint the butt of the here. And you can also use this to highlight, touch. Okay. Okay. You can see. Okay, back to the braid back here. Paint the D rings on the braid back strap. Okay, so for the leather part, I'm going to use black. Yeah, and we are going to paint over all the. Okay, I'm going to use a bit of the thinner to let it flow better. Just a bit of thinner. The black is very strong, right? You can see the black is very strong. So we are going to use this to deepen the shadow of the boots. That's why we use earlier on we used the rubber black, because it's almost like a grey. So that will give us our first highlight. So when we wash over the black, we will let the paint deposit in the shadows. Okay, we can also use black to paint to wash and to deepen the ammo pouch. Okay. Okay, almost there. I'll use this bit of the black to paint the buttons first. Okay, right. Right. Okay. Another color here is called German grey. I'm going to use this to darken the buckle. So this part here, this is the buckle here. Add a bit of the ultra matte varnish. So this is the German grey. We're going to apply a wash over the buckle. Okay, I'm going to take a bit of the ivory and I'm going to mix a lot, about 80% of the ultra matte varnish. Right, and we're going to use this to just dot the buttons. Paint the insignia here. Okay, what's that mean? Ah, caught the passenger here. Okay, never mind. I'm going to touch out this area first. Okay. Okay, where will we? Oh, the buttons. Right. Here we got the button, just a touch of the ivory with ultra matte varnish. This is the buckle here. Touch on the highlight here, the edge there. Okay, so this is like NMM like this, non-metal metallic. Okay, so just pinpoint highlight. So you can see the buckle coming out, and just to add a bit of give a bit of shadow, I'm going to use German grey. Just deepen this part here. Now this is going to reinforce the metallic look of the buckle. Yep. Okay. Right. I'm going to highlight a bit on the grenade here. Medium green with a bit of the ultra matte varnish. Okay. Second round of we're going to apply a bit of human flesh, or rather duck flesh, onto the grenade here. Okay, if I want, I got a bit of light flesh there, I can highlight it with light flesh. Again, of course, we use a bit of the ultra matte varnish. So moving very slowly. Highlight. Right, you can see the grenade coming out. I'm going to give a nice, I'm going to punch the highlight a bit more for the grenade. Add a bit of ivory and medium green. Right, and rest right at the edge there. Here, going to highlight this. Push, dot. So once you put in the highlight, extreme highlight, it allows all the details, right, to jump out. Right, so this side here, this is the highlight here. So you can see it now. Right, I'm going to use pure ivory. And just at the edge there, just a speck of white. You can see, you can bring a bit of a shine to the grenade. Okay, and then we get the fuel cap. Touch out the detail on the fuel cap here. Okay, collar. Okay, and since we got a bit of ivory, take a bit of ivory, we can paint the collar insignia. Right, for collar insignia, I'm going to hold it very close. So I'm going to show you how to paint it. Make sure, right, the hand agrees with your flow, you see? Then we go slow. Land, make sure it's not too wet. Slowly we pull. Okay, imagine we are using a very, very thick brush. Very nice and slow. Lightly pulling. Okay, and then we get our rank insignia out. Flip it the other side. That's why you can see this is so important. Slow. Okay. Right, so you can see it's very fast. Once you get the details out, very quick. Right, 2 hours we can only do one figure. Doi-san's workshop we got 4 hours, we can do 2 figures. Okay, right. So you can do a lot of things in terms of highlights, because right now if you mix a lot of mix the white, okay. You can also highlight the edge here on the leather, just the corner. Okay, and also the buckles. Okay. Right, you can see this part almost there. Okay, let's Tanaka-san, super glue.
Super glue?
Yes. Okay, you can more or less you can bring the arm into this.
You don't have a box?
Oh, in my bag. Yeah. Okay, I think let me see if I have it. Yeah, I don't think I brought it. No, I don't have it. I didn't bring.
Okay.
I didn't bring. Okay, I think no. Okay, yeah.
でもスチールって書いてる。
Right. super glue, yeah. Super glue.
あ、なかった。
なかったんですけど、終着。フィギュアを固定するためだけな。
Okay. No, it's okay. So we can start to attach the head. Okay. Sorry. Hi. Hi. Okay. Okay. Oh, almost there. Okay. Right, you can see very fast. Oh. Okay, maybe we fix this one also. Okay. Okay, good. Right, so you can see it's very fast. We'll put all the main what do you call that? All the major parts in, and then we can continue painting. This way we can focus on what is important. Tanaka-san, I need to accelerate one more time.
Spray?
Spray, yeah. Right. Okay, here. Okay, yeah, correct. Okay, wonderful. Okay. So you can see. And so generally what I do is I try to paint everything in the base color first, and I attach it to the figure so it can work much faster. So for me it's about efficiency. We worry about the details later. So now when all these are in, we can clean it up later. So I can show you how if let's say for example when you do something like that, you're going to end up repairing a bit. So now this part is bare. I will do is take matte varnish, cover, and then continue painting. Never mind. So all those areas that there needs to be covered, cut. Here, the elbow here, I will cover with the matte varnish. You can see it's almost done. And now we can just spend maybe about few more minutes, right? Apply some washes, and we can sort of clean up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to paint the helmet and how to get the gradient out from the helmet. So for the helmet, it's very easy. I'm going to use, let's say, okay, we're going to use let's do an early war helmet. Or maybe we'll just use a late war helmet, which is fuel grey. So we got our fuel grey ready, okay, right here. Right, fuel grey ready. So add a bit of the thinner, and you're just going to cover as a wash, very thin.
You will make a gradation.
Yes. But first I give the undercoat.
最初にシンナーで薄めて塗装をします。
So for the collar, I'm going to clean up the collar. So not the collar, sorry, the scarf. There's a scarf there. So I'm going to use the thinner. I'm going to remove the paint. To show the resin. Yeah, remove. Then I will use matte varnish to cover and use a dark grey wash and finish. So the highlight is actually the color of the resin.
スカーフの部分は、縫った塗料をシンナーでちょっと拭き取って、でもうそのままのレジンの色を生かして影だけを今薄くつけて仕上げますということです。
So you can see now I'm removing the paint.
You want to use a color of resin?
Yes, use the resin color for highlight. Then once I cover with the ultra matte varnish, once I cover with the matte varnish, nobody will know the difference. Okay, you can see the scarf there. Because once it dries, it becomes very, you can see it's very chalky. I will paint the epaulette, shoulder board. Okay, and now I can start to paint the sleeve. This is with this one I already painted the varnish, so I just apply the wash. And this part is very fast. Okay, so I'm going to do a bit of wet on wet, few grey. So with the ultra matte varnish, I don't have to worry about any brush strokes. Okay, shadow for the sleeve. Okay, so still time. I can always wash away any spillovers. Okay, forgot to paint this part here. Never mind. So apply a wash. This is the strap for the canteen. So very fast. Okay. And the rest of it, this is rubber black I'm using, by the way. So rubber black is very useful. So what we try to do is we push everything into the shadow. And for the entrenching tool here, I'm going to use wood. Like a wash. Right. Okay, this part is done. Okay. Just a bit of black to deepen the leather parts. Okay. This is for the gun. wood. We'll go back to the wood. So apply like a wash here as well. Okay, helmet here, you can see. Okay, we're going to give another layer of German grey. Because you can still see the resin. Okay, we can focus on the rest, touch up on the rest first. The other parts that are missing. You can see right now when the scarf, when it dries with the matte varnish, right, nobody will know the difference. It's actually the color of the resin. So we actually save a lot of time. So everything is all about efficiency. The same results within a shorter time. So you can see how fast I'm able to maneuver using the chopstick. So I'm going to touch up a bit. So you can see it's actually this making all these creases, painting these creases used to be difficult when controlling with water. But now if you add the ultra matte varnish, you can get that thin layer of paint, translucent layer of paint without any worry of watermarks. Homa-san, are you around? oh, Homa, okay. Homa-san not around. Homa-san understands. Okay, so next, can we use? I'm supposed to use a dark green. Never mind, I use this is for the sleeve insignia. It's supposed to be a dark green. Okay, I will cut it with a Persian blue, medium green. This is the chevron for the graphiter. I think it's oval graphiter. Okay. Alright. So you can see it's everything else coming out nicely. Right, I'm going to apply a bit of highlighter for the scarf here using ivory. Final highlight for the buckle. Okay, maybe I just highlight a bit on the buckle here. Okay, insignia. There's the chevron. Highlight. Okay, done. Okay, and then we have the piping. Using the side. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going at an angle, 45-degree angle. I'm using the side and pulling slowly. Okay, just laying this down first. Right. Okay, now any spillover, I'm going to use the quick gen. Few gray. Okay, and I'm just going to apply a wash here. You can see. Right, then you can see you can touch up. Now see the piping. So I'm using washers, you can see all this, I'm using the washers. So you can, darken it a bit. Okay, one more round for the piping. So I'm actually mixing a bit of the ultra matte varnish with the ivory, because the ultra matte varnish is also a flow improver. You can see it's now, you can see, that's why I like the Tamiya Pro 2 brush. You can see, although it's very, very thick, but the point is very sharp. Okay, okay, touch up on the chevron again, on the collar insignia. Okay. Let's go back to the helmet. Third layer. Not too much paint. Okay, let's lay on a line. Highlight. Highlight. Okay. Alright. Now, let's wait for the... Okay, so we're going to work with the helmet. So helmet, okay, we're going to thin it with, okay, with a bit of the ultra matte varnish, or thinner, whichever. So I'm going to use a bit of ultra matte varnish and just a bit of, just a touch of thinner, just to make the paint flow a bit better. Alright, so this is a large area. I'm going to use the longer brush here and stir this. Right, not too much, I don't want to over flood it. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply a wash here. Alright, cover everything. Alright, so you can see, just make sure everything is covered. Now, next you want to place the highlight. Okay, so while it's still wet, what I'm going to do, alright, don't pick too much paint. You can see the paint is still moist. Right, and we're going to do is go to the side. You can see, observe this. Okay, go to the side, go around. Okay, move it around. We mix the top. See that? And we end off right at the top here, lift. You can see the sides, you can see the diffusion. Alright, so this is what we'll do. So we go around by the side here, move, mix, pull. Okay, so the sides here as well, you can see I'm going to do the rim here. While it's still wet, this is the rim, tint it on.
このヘルメットが最初に言ったグラデーションが自然にできるというところですね。
Okay, I'm going to use a bit of field grey here. Right, so you can do a bit of wet on wet. You can wait for it to dry first before, if you want to get more highlights, okay, you can wait for it to dry. Okay, let's speed up a bit. Okay, you can see the gradation, right? It's very smooth. Okay, so if you want to get darker, you can actually sweep the sides here. Okay, unload, just take the tip, just sweep. That's the reason why we use the ultra matte varnish and the thinner. The thinner helps to scatter the paint. Okay, right. Okay, and we can start to paint the, if you want, we can start to paint the elastic band. Actually, the elastic band is supposed to be reddish brown, but never mind. Just use a brown tone. Okay. Always, as I said, make sure it's comfortable. All right. This hand is limited, so make sure the model is adjusted. So I mentioned earlier, drawing lines. Okay. Alright, you look at my method, right? I don't understand how come people take 3 weeks to paint a figure. I don't understand. I think 2 hours we can do something quite decent. Okay, see the strap is up there already. So those of you who want to turn professional, right? Alright, the time is, speed is important. So if you get the right things, money comes by a bit easier. Or rather, you get all the right factors in. Okay. I think we're almost there. You can see it's very fast. 2 hours, right? Tanaka-san, how many? Almost 2 hours. Four. Okay. 2 hours. Okay. Almost there. Yeah. So the last part, you can see I use markers also help a lot. Okay, not perfect, but I think you can see how fast the results are for 2 hours. Yeah, Q&A, yes. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, we have 1 more hour. So if any questions, yeah,